And we are back at the regular Joe show. We're getting to more local stuff. We promised. The Pam Everett show is over, but
Well, yes, it's over.
it's over. Where would you like to start on your?
Well, let me tie something in first to
Sure,
the
sure.
other one. This is a printout. I'm not going to show it to you because it's green on green. It won't show. But this is from the news today. This is new tonight. 4 charged with murder after a pair of Marion County teens killed in a drug deal gone bad.
Yeah.
Florence police arrest 2 for allegedly shooting into occupied home. That was yesterday. Yesterday, 16-year-old boy jailed in Little River party boat mass shooting. A 16-year-old boy. And folks, I don't know whether you saw the ad for that private party that was sent to me, and I would be embarrassed to have sent that to anybody. It was pretty
Nasty.
nasty. I mean, graphic. Um, don't ask me to send it to you because I won't.
No, it's
It was pretty
yeah.
disgusting. But that was the kind of party this thing was, and it came from North Carolina. So why a 16-year-old boy would have been on that thing in the first place? Because I don't know what was going on. As far as I know, Diddy wasn't there. But whatever.
No, but Johnson's baby oil was.
I don't know. And Crime Tracker, this is again yesterday. Dillon County deputies look for convenience store robber. This is just one day, folks, and this ain't Chicago.
It's not New York, but it's turning into New York City.
But moving to some happier news.
Yes.
Susie Skinner, whose former husband committed suicide, question mark, and J.P. Miller, whose former wife committed suicide, question mark, got married on the beach on June 1st. So congrats to both of them. Speaking as a person in the insurance biz, I don't want to write the life insurance on either one of you. So don't call me and ask.
I mean, not for nothing. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not even going to ask.
Anyway, let's see. An article
I'll be sleeping.
from Fitz News, Will Folks at Fitz News, indicates that depending upon how a certain article of the South Carolina Constitution is interpreted, the South Carolina legislature cannot constitutionally award itself, that's existing members now, that's an important point, a pay raise until at least 2029. Now, can they approve it now? Yes.
Sure.
But would it take effect
No.
prior to 2029?
No.
No, because the Constitution prevents existing members from increasing their pay. Existing members means those who were
Right.
and still are in that legislature.
Right.
And the 2029 comes in with respect to the Senate because
Yeah.
that's a 4-year term. So anyway, South Carolina legislature, Bruce Bannister, who's hardly a model of transparency or ethics, has indicated that it is not a pay raise. It is an increase in expense reimbursement. Oh, let me get this straight. So, Bruce, you knew that this little conflict was there, and you decided to try to help push us through anyway, and call it a rose by any other name, which still stinks. Okay. Lawsuits have been threatened,
Mm-hmm.
and by Dick Harpootlian, of all people, former state senator, Democrat, a well-known attorney.
Yeah.
And lawsuits have been threatened. So we'll see what happens. The reports are that the governor is going to sign this, approve it, not veto it. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that one. But speaking of expense reimbursement,
oh boy!
there's a letter, I have a copy of this, from the South Carolina Comptroller General, which specifies the amount that legislators will be reimbursed for mileage related to their legislative activities. Okay. The state does reimburse for it, but inquiring minds might want to know why State Senator Greg Embry reimbursed himself for his campaign account for $15,000 in change that he labeled as mileage. Just asking.
See paragraph 1.
Mm-hmm. Just asking. But as long as we're
Talking about Mr. Embry.
talking about Mr. Embry, the same inquiring minds might want to know why his campaign account paid Creative Sports Media $13,100 for advertising services rendered. According to the Secretary of State, no entity with that name exists, nor does it exist on Google. The address is from a private home in North Myrtle Beach. The owner of that home, according to the tax record, the owner keeps a very low profile. So this guy sells advertising and media services, etc., and no one seems to know who he is.
Does it on the QT?
Yep. Also,
Mr. Embry.
Mr. Embry, inquiring minds might want to know why the state senator has paid $16,678.11 from campaign funds from October 23, 2012 to March 3rd, 2025. And March 3rd, by the way, is just the last record that's there.
Right.
To 3 separate storage facilities to store campaign material. Okay. Why would anybody want to store that stuff? Because the date alone on it would make it trash, recycle, whatever. So that's a question. It's like, why are you saving this stuff? Recycle it, shred it, whatever. But one of those entities was paid $3,290 to a company called Absco Storage, and it was paid from May 16th. Well, he had a long-standing relationship there, but this particular time frame, the reimbursements were from May 16th, 2019 to March 21st, 2022, and the company was dissolved on May 3rd of 2019. So where did that $3,290 go?
In a storage unit and unmarked bills?
I don't know. Don't know. But there will be more on that one.
Yeah. That's going to come to surface. You know that's good.
It'll bubble up.
Exactly. The next one's interesting with the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce. Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce maintains that the past Memorial Day was one for the record books in a good way. Yet the state shows that while North Myrtle Beach did quite well, City of Myrtle Beach proper was down 35%. Figures don't lie, liars figure.
Okay, folks.
And we had our good friend, Mr. David Hux.
Yes, we've got the stats from him and elsewhere, I might add. This one is just it sticks in my craw because some of you may know that the South Carolina House and Senate just passed. And Governor Lake Cohen is expected to sign a massive budget filled with pork and one-time only revenue infusions.
Yeah, and when we say pork, we don't mean the good type.
No, it's not bacon, it's pork.
It's pork.
Every one of the Horry County Rhino puppets voted in favor of it.
That's right.
Now, if I can paraphrase one of my good friends, Nancy Pelosi, we have to pass the budget
to see what's in it.
And there is a video showing South Carolina Rep. Joe White, who I admire greatly. He's a member of the South Carolina Freedom Caucus. I have an interview with him on the podcast a few weeks back. He's telling us exactly what is wrong with the budget.
Do people listen to him?
Yeah, some people do. That has been circulated. Yes. So will the governor approve it? Probably. Yeah. This is the same governor that Pam Evatt holds in such high esteem. Touched on this a little bit earlier. The Myrtle Beach crime record is it's going through the roof, folks, and the tourists are noticing it. And according to Mark Crua, who is a candidate for City of Myrtle Beach mayor, he has indicated that the return visitor percentage, which has historically been at 90%, i.e. 90% of the people that come here come back. It is now down to in the 60s. So is it COVID? Is it the economy? Is
No.
it it's the crime?
Yep.
It's the pride stuff. It's the converting the Riviera, the redneck Riviera, into something it was never intended to be, except in Brenda Buffoon's mind. And I might add, in your tax dollars, folks, in the city of Myrtle Beach. So I don't know this. There was another thing that I wanted to mention. There was a changing of the guard, literally.
Yes. Yeah.
The other day when Major General R. Van McCarty retired after 42 years and handed over control of the South Carolina National Guard to his successor. You may remember General McCarty from the June 24 Republican primary for SC House District 106. He was reportedly outraged over Val Guest having duped him into a photo op that Guest then used as a campaign flyer. And political endorsements by the military, current military, and especially current military in uniform are expressly verboten. That's forbidden for you folks in Rio Linda. Anyway, despite this reported outrage, nothing was done. No. So I guess the general got over it. Yeah. Or maybe, well, no, he's retired after 42 years, so he was going to go anyway. I would be really curious to see if he gets a job after this and where it might happen to be. And who might sponsor it. But anyway, that's my own meandering. Kentucky State Democrat Senator
flipped,
switched parties to GOP.
Yep.
Folks, this is the same thing that's happened to any number of people for very honest reasons and some dishonest reasons. David Pascoe has switched from Democrat to Republican, and I support David Pascoe. He's an honest guy. He's a true conservative, even though he had a D after his name for a long period of time while he finally got religion, as has this person.
He found Jesus.
He found Jesus, and so that's...
Listen.
That shows you what's happening, folks.
I was just going to say that. That shows you the current state of the government in South Carolina.
Yes, it also shows you, because Kentucky has a Democratic governor who is supposedly a candidate for Democrat challenger for president next go round.
Yeah.
And I frankly, I think he's well regarded, but I also believe he's term limited.
In Kentucky.
Yeah, in Kentucky. No, yeah. I don't know a whole lot about him.
He's not a far left Democrat.
Oh no,
no, he's not.
Reportedly, he's not.
No.
But I mean, when you consider some of the other candidates, like that Looney Tune from Minnesota.
Who?
Walz.
Oh God.
Who was down here for the South Carolina Democratic Convention thingy.
Not working.
Not working. Let's see. We've got him. We've got Kamala.
You had the other one, the other Democrat.
Cory Booker.
Thank you. I couldn't think of that one.
Well, I wish Governor Beshear
lots of luck.
Why you would want to be associated with that bunch of Looney Tunes is something I can't understand.
Again, it's not what you know, but who you know, and what gets you where you want to be. I'm just saying. I mean, you know.
Now I want to mention something here that's unscripted. The last series of podcasts, I was asked the question by my good friend here about whether or not I had heard back from the Attorney General's office.
Yes.
About that material I sent having to do with that professor at CCU. I have.
Okay, notice I turned around and looked right at what did they say?
I have heard back. Yes. His chief of staff called me.
Okay.
And
Called you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, she used a phone.
Okay, it's a lot easier to hide behind a keyboard than it is a phone.
No, it was a phone.
Okay, cool.
And she's a very gracious lady.
Okay.
Very nice. But she asked a few questions like, we've looked at this and we're researching and whatever. Are you the one that should be the person to talk to about this? Because are you the one that gathered the information? I said, absolutely not. This should be Jessica Newell, who was
she was the speaker that time at oh God,
American Conservative Voices. Yes, but she was also the in school CCU at the time.
Yeah.
And she graduated, I think it was like last December or something, but could be wrong about that. But anyway, I said, no, it's Jessica Newell. By all means, chat with her. And she said, fine, I'd love to. So I swapped phone numbers with Jessica and the chief of staff. And I've gotten, I don't know that they've communicated yet, but I have gotten a text or something saying that voicemail messages were left. So anyway, they will have a conversation anyway. So we'll see what happens there.
That's a piece of good news.
Yes.
Amongst the crime and everything else we've been talking about, that's a bit of good news. At least somebody's reached back out to you.
Yes. Yeah, good. And it wasn't really me I wanted them to reach back out to. I wanted them to connect with Jessica. Well, she's the person who was involved.
Right, but you're the one who sent the letter.
Well, I'm the one that sent the letter, but, I'm old and decrepit, so I can get away with things that someone her age can't do.
My father says the same thing in 91. He pokes in by a fire hydrant. Let me give me the ticket. I'm 91 years old. And when you come out and your windows are busted because the building went on fire, don't you look at me.
For whatever reason, I got a return call. A call, and we had a nice conversation. And so now Jessica has been put in touch with Whitney Michael, who is the chief of staff. And we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted, folks. Well, what else? But that leads into an abortion conversation, and I've touched on this earlier in earlier podcasts. And one of the I'm pro-life, I'm anti-abortion, but I'm
the same way. I've just been lucky enough not to have been put in that situation in my past relationships. Thank God.
But one of the things with me is not just how horrific I think the procedure is. Yeah. I also think it's horrific that these entities are doing every damn thing they can to bypass the state law.
Yeah.
And Palmetto State Abortion Fund was formed by a woman named Lorraine Woodward. She lives in Prestwick Country Club. Now, her name is not on the
IRS.
Well, it's on the, yes, it is actually on
the 990 form, whatever it is.
It's not on the 990, but it's on other.
It's on the entity where you get.
It's on the state registration.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Lorraine Woodward is on there, and I don't know why she wants to keep her name out. And someone's saying, "Well, you shouldn't be doxing her." Well, sorry, folks, but this is an important issue.
Yeah.
She's the one that established that thing. Now, Ashley Pro, I'm going to mangle her name, but it's French Pro, Preaux, however. Ashlyn, she ran against Carla Schisler last
not this election,
Democrat,
right?
So she claims to be co-founder, and I'm not saying she's not. I mean, could very well be, but what this thing has. They are using money donated. This is a 501c3. So if people contribute to it,
you gotta prove
that means they can deduct it on their taxes.
Right.
So they're getting tax-free money to bypass the heartbeat bill in South Carolina. Now, whether you like the heartbeat bill or not, that's a totally separate issue. What's happening here is tax-free money is being used to support the Palmetto State Abortion Fund's efforts to bypass what has been enacted in South Carolina.
And what in my opinion, the way you could relieve yourselves of all of this, to be perfectly honest with you, having a relationship is an adult thing. Getting pregnant should not happen to kids. It should happen when you're an adult and you're ready for it. And I don't mean 16, 17-year-olds. I mean when you're an adult, in your 20s, early 30s. There are other options other than having an abortion.
It should
And
not be considered a contraceptive.
Correct. That was my next point. But, I mean, there are so many other things that you can do. And I mentioned it before. Abortion always seems to be, have an abortion, have an abortion, have an abortion, have an abortion. Not give it up for adoption. There's a family that can't have children. It's always abortion to the forefront. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And there's no other discussion brought up that, okay, you're pregnant, you didn't mean to be, you don't want it. You don't have to have an abortion. You can give your child up to a couple who cannot have children.
But the Coastline Women's Center is an entity that does exactly that.
But it's never brought out. It's never at the forefront. It's always get an abortion.
I know, and I can't quite fathom the mindset here. But another interesting thing about this is that the filing with the Secretary of State shows the fund's registered agents as being Registered Agents Inc. at the Prestwick address.
Yeah.
Lorraine Woodward's address. So Registered Agents Inc. is a subsidiary of a commercial registrar company which kept changing its address in Wyoming. This is a red flag, folks.
Yeah, that's also one of the best places to have an LLC.
If you don't want people to know what you're doing,
then don't do it.
Don't do it. But this stuff is they're paying registered agents to get paid for their services.
They're getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and they're like, "No, I'm not." I mean, that's a silly, analogy, but that's how I feel.
This is clearly these people don't want you to know
what they're doing.
And if you're so proud of your efforts and come out.
Exactly. And here's the thing. You want to be proud of your efforts. Okay, in South Carolina, the abortion is illegal. But there are plenty of other states you could go to where abortion's legal. So you don't have to hide yourself.
According to some of the paperwork, Palmetto State Abortion Fund has expanded its services to several other southern states.
Okay. Then, be open and honest and have some transparency.
Well, but the other southern states are even more conservative on the abortion issue than South Carolina is.
So what are they afraid? They're going to get their... and listen, I don't condone violence, okay? And I don't think it's the right way to go. But if you're going to be an idiot and blow up a Planned Parenthood or an abortion clinic, you know what? You just did the very thing you're against, in my book. You're against killing a life, an unborn life, but yet again, you'll blow up an abortion center and kill people in it. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. That's just me.
This whole thing is kind of insane, and having nothing directly to do with Palmetto State Abortion Fund, Planned Parenthood is closing more than 20 locations in various spots. And I will say this one more time, most of Planned Parenthood's locations just happen to be in minority neighborhoods.
Yes.
I'm sure that.
So what they're basically saying that the minority gets pregnant more often than somebody who is non-minority?
Well, if you know the history of Planned Parenthood, you know that the person who founded it was a racist par excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I mean,
I also think other than abortion, if you're old enough, you want to have sex, and you could go out and buy a condom. You could get a contraceptive. If Planned Parenthood would concentrate more on that instead of always bringing the abortion right to the forefront, I think it'd be a different story.
Well, anyway, Planned Parenthood's funding may very well, federal funding,
should be gone.
May very well disappear. I believe it has not been eliminated from the just passed South Carolina budget, but I could be wrong about that.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, present all options to the person who is coming into your clinic, and they don't seem to be doing that.
No.
They just seem to be pushing that one issue. You want people to be on your side, put forward all the options that this particular couple or girl has in front of them. Okay? And do they know that once you have an abortion, what it does to the inside of a woman?
No, they don't.
Okay.
They don't talk about that.
God forbid.
Anyway.
Like I said, I'm not pro. I'm against it, but there's got to be other ways that you can do this. Listen, I feel for these kids nowadays that get into these situations because their parents are too ashamed to talk to them about sex. Well, they'll learn it in school, they'll learn it on the street, and what do they learn? Oh, you only could get pregnant one time a month, and if you do it on a Tuesday during a full moon. It doesn't work that way.
Anyway.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get on my soapbox. I apologize. I apologize. It's just that if you're going to do something, do it the right way. Do it all the way. Just don't do it so you're just presenting one option.
And you're clearly trying to subvert the law here.
Yes,
if you don't
they
like
are.
The law, do what you think you have to do to change it, but bypassing it is with tax-free dollars.
That is wrong.
It's just plain corrupt. Speaking of, well, never mind. I'm not going to use that word here. Change of subject.
Lindsey Graham, you going to?
No. All right, I'll go to Lindsey Graham. That's fine.
Oh, well, a good friend.
Yeah.
Yes. How much money are the Dems going to spend to defeat Mr. Graham?
I don't know, but the money is flowing in.
Yeah,
because they think he's vulnerable. And
and
Graham thinks he's
vulnerable because it happened in his last election where he just barely beat out an unknown.
Yes, well, it wasn't quite an unknown. I mean, he was a local South Carolina person, born and raised,
right?
But he spent decades
right.
in D.C. and wherever else. Yeah. But Lindsey Graham did announce his statewide campaign committee, and it's like 127 people on it. It's like, oh, well, that's going to be an interesting meeting. And some of them are exactly the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce acolytes that you would expect.
Yes, of course.
To be on such a committee,
Yes, Lindsey. Yes, where's Lindsey? We need to donate our money.
Lindsey Graham knows he's in trouble.
Yeah, he does.
And the Dems are smelling blood in the water, and they're throwing money in, and let's see what happens.
He's in, remember the movie Man Who Shot Liberty Valance?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne.
Basically, he's Jimmy Stewart, and Lee Marvin is going to kill him in the shootout, and there's no Pompey, and there's no John Wayne to help him escape this. That's the problem. So.
Yep. Moving that along to somebody else.
Uh-oh.
A guy named Alan Clemens, who is a Master of Equity in Horry County at the moment. He had been a South Carolina House legislator for far too long. Anyway, I've been looking at his expenses too, and in my humble opinion, he's got some very questionable stuff in there.
Yeah.
He closed out his campaign account by transferring almost $169,000 to an American Patriots for Israel, which is a 501c3 form. Now, a 501c3 transferring money to such an entity is totally legit.
Yeah.
Transferring to a 501c3 that he just formed
is not.
That's.
It's like you have one corporation, one LLC, and you want to start another, and you transfer the money to another LLC. That's legal. But transferring to something that's non-for-profit?
Well, since the 990 forms are from damn near everybody here are not current. They haven't filed 2024 ones yet. Some of them haven't filed 2023s. It's tough to tell what exactly has been done with that money. But he is the guy that formed it, and he's the president, the CEO, and the treasurer. So
Never mind. Only in America.
Wow, that's interesting there, Alan. Also, in the text here, I haven't mentioned that the fact that you spent $37,000 on Milano ties that you gave away as gifts to other legislators. But you also paid your taxes and your tax preparer through your campaign account.
That's a no-no.
Yes, that's a no-no.
That's a no-no.
That's a biggie.
That's like me paying my personal bills through my company's holding corporation. That's a no-no.
Not supposed to do that. Anyway, that sort of wraps it up.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get on my soapbox with the abortion. I mean, it's just I feel for these young kids. I really do. And the only thing is abortion, 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 and it's not right. Give them a choice. Don't always push the abortion. Okay? You were old enough. You conceived a child because you thought you were more mature enough to have sex. Don't go running to an abortion clinic. In my book, you made your bed, sleep in it. That's anyway. I'm done, folks.
Thanks, folks.
Have a good week.
We'll see you the next time. Take care.